You've probably seen the headlines. Foreigner gets drugged in Medellín, gets robbed in Cartagena, women setting guys up in Colombia. It happened several times when I was in Medellín. So is it real? Yeah. Can it happen? Of course. But here's the thing. I lived in Colombia for over a year now in multiple different cities such as Cali, which is supposedly one of the most dangerous ones, Medellín, Santa Marta, Rio Negro, and now I'm in Bucaramanga. And I've never had anything like that even close to happening from my experience after dating many women. So in this video, I'm gonna tell you not only what you should be aware of, but also how to date in Colombia safely and confidently. I'll break down everything that I've learned to lower your risk to nearly zero while still enjoying the amazing dating culture here. And if you're planning to move to Latin America and you want some help choosing your city, maybe setting up your lifestyle or navigating dating, you can book a free 15-minute call with me. Links in the description. Let's get into it. So here's one of the biggest factors, guys, when it comes to staying safe dating in Colombia. Location is going to be probably the number one thing, right? Most of the horror stories that you hear as far as druggings, robberies, scams, probably 80% of this happens in the tourist hotspots like Medellin and Cartagena. Some of it maybe in Bogota as well. So it's the major touristy cities where this stuff happens in, number one. Now, why is that? Because this is where the weekend tourists go, right? This is where guys who are looking for pay to play, they're looking to flash their cash, they're looking to go out every single night, clubs, things like that. And that's exactly what attracts the type of woman who knows exactly how to take advantage of this type of foreigner. But when you're in mid-sized cities like the one I'm in now, which is Bucaramanga, roughly a little over 1 million population metro area, this stuff never happens here, okay? I haven't heard one story yet where it has happened here. Not one single case, okay? And when I was in Medellin, I was living in Poblado, Laureles, Sabaneta. It would happen like every month where you hear a story of some new tourist guy getting drugged, getting killed maybe, or at least getting robbed. You hear a ton of stories like that happening there. But for some reason, when you're in a more chill city, it just doesn't happen. And obviously the reason being is it's not touristy. It doesn't attract that type of foreigner. It doesn't attract that type of woman as well. So in my opinion, if you choose a quieter, more chill city, you stay in the right areas, of course, and you live more like a local, your odds of running into problems substantially go down. Number two, desperation is dangerous, all right? So this is a big one as well. If you're desperate to get laid, let's just keep it real, you're a target, all right? You're a target. Some women know exactly how to act. They know how to be sexual in text messages. They know how to use seductive language before you even meet them in person. This is a huge, massive red flag to me. If a girl's ever sexual with you via text, if she's using affectionate words before you meet with her, like mi amor or mi corazón, before you even meet with the girl, huge red flag. In my opinion, you should avoid that type of girl, because real attractive women aren't desperate for sex, right? They have plenty of options, all right? So they're not going to be the ones being overly sexual or being overly affectionate before you ever meet them. It just doesn't happen with the majority of women. Now, what these women are desperate for is for money, right? And that's why they act like that. And that's why you should avoid them. And I've seen it myself, on dating apps. And this could happen in any city. It happens here. It happens here in Bucaramanga as well, where a girl's calling you mi amor, mi vida, mi corazón before you even meet. Guys, just keep it simple. Just skip those girls. Or you can risk somebody really just more interested in your money than you are. So it's up to you, but I'm helping you lower your risk here. Now, after you've met the woman and there is a mutual connection, these affectionate words become normal, right? Amor, corazón, right? Mi vida. You can start using words like that once you know the girl, once she knows you, once you like each other, sure. But what I'm saying is before you meet the girl, right? If she starts talking like that, again, just completely avoid her, or just know it's a huge red flag. And to sum this section up, again, don't be desperate, right? Don't be the desperate guy. That's what I think maybe the majority of this stuff happens to. It's usually guys who are looking for, and they're a little more desperate to go about it than usual. The other thing here is don't be flashy, all right? Leave your fancy watches, your fancy chains, leave that stuff at home, guys. There's actually a video that went viral recently of a girl flirting with a foreign guy. And maybe if I could pull up the video, I'll share it here. But essentially, it was at night. A girl was seen hugging him and being all over him, and then just robbing him of his chain while she was hugging him. So, my opinion, here's what happened here. I mean, obviously, guy had a fancy chain that looked valuable, and the girl, wanted to rob him for that. And he was probably looking for, some type of pay for play. Because if you're out at night, and I believe it happened in Medellin as well. So if you're out at night in the obvious areas, right, where you see working girls walking around and they're all over you, they're touching you. I mean, it's kind of obvious what she's after, what he's probably after too. So these are the types of situations where it happens. Because what kind of attractive woman comes up to a random guy and starts hugging on him, loving on him, flirting with him, right? So it was kind of obvious, again, I think, between what they were both looking for. So it's probably safe to say, I mean, not only was that particular tourist desperate for something, but he was also flashing something, right? And that's why he got robbed. Now, that's not to say you can't wear watches in Colombia, okay? I do wear watches. I wear venceros, which I think are nice, but they're nothing super expensive or anything like that. And same thing with necklaces. I just don't flash it. I have nothing super expensive. I usually keep it hidden because I'm not a flashy guy to begin with. So you can still rock necklaces and watches, just don't be overly flashy about it and don't let it be anything like super fancy. And with that said as well, I mean, there are guys who do wear Rolexes, walking around the streets anywhere in Colombia, but you're just making yourself more of a target. You're increasing the odds of something like this happening to you. And as I always mention in my other videos, if you want to be flashy, if you like having nice things, nice toys, there's nothing wrong with that. There's no judgment here. Just go to cities like Miami or Dubai where that stuff is normalized, right? Not really a good idea to be that way here in Latin America. Here's another tip. Be careful when it comes to nightlife and going out by yourself, all right? This isn't the US where you might meet a girl at a bar, you might take her home that same night, and that's totally normal out there, right? Hookup culture. It's completely normal in the States. In Colombia, that usually doesn't happen unless she's a working girl, all right? So if you combine the tourist cities that I just mentioned, combined with nightlife and clubbing in these particular areas, you're going to meet a lot of working women. And if she is a working girl, there's usually two types of working girls. It's the one that's willing to do, let's call it an honest transaction, and the other one who is not looking to do such an honest transaction, all right? And it's the second one where guys could get into a lot of trouble. So scopolamine is a real threat, right? It is a real threat. It has happened a lot, especially in the past when I was living in Medellin, probably 3 years ago. This is when it was becoming really popular, where you had a lot of incidents happening, girls drugging guys with their drinks, that sort of thing. Specifically, again, in cities like Medellin and Cartagena, what it does is it turns you into a zombie. What you end up handing over, like your phone, your ATM cards, your passport to your bank accounts, literally wipes you out clean from your bank accounts. And the scary part is you won't remember a thing of what happened the previous day, right? And some guys, unfortunately, never wake up because these girls sometimes might give you a little too much for your own good. And that's where people have died, unfortunately. So what I would say, if you're going out clubbing alone, right? You're drinking heavy, you're getting drunk, you're inviting strangers back to your place, women you've never met before in these types of locations, you're taking on a big risk there. And me personally, I wouldn't go out at night alone unless I'm with a girl that I'm talking to or a guy friend. I mean, I'm not much of a nightlife guy to begin with, so that helps with my odds right there. But if that's you, right, and I understand, I was the same way in my 20s. In Boston, I lived it up. I was friends with some promoters and I would go out a lot. But Colombia nightlife is a lot different, right? So just keep in mind, you're more at risk. And you need to be more aware if you're someone who is going out to clubs, specifically in the touristy cities. All right, now this next one is vet her before the date. So this is assuming you are talking to a girl on the dating apps, because this is another time where it can happen, right? Where you might meet someone who ends up drugging you or robbing you, right? A lot of times it happens off Tinder. So here's one of the best things you can do when you're talking to someone on Tinder. Ask her for her Instagram before you ever meet her on the first date. All right, looking at a girl's Instagram, first off, 90% of women have Instagram. So if they don't have an Instagram and she's younger, that's usually a red flag right there. You'll learn a lot from her Instagram as far as how she dresses, where she goes, who she hangs out with, what type of girl she is, right? That alone tells a lot of the story. Not everything, of course, but it helps. It helps mitigate risk. And then when you meet her for the first time, just keep it really simple. Like first dates, keep it to a simple coffee shop, keep it to a chill bar, one drink maximum. Don't get drunk. Right? Keep it to an hour length. And by then, you should have a really good idea as far as what type of girl this is, right? You also want to ask the right questions. I mean, questions that I like to ask, outside the just normal banter, right? I want to find out about her family, if she has siblings, saying things like that. Does she have a good relationship with her parents, her father, with her siblings, right? These are questions that'll give you some tells as well and know quickly whether or not, she's a good girl. And when it comes to coming back to your place, look, I've done it many times. When I'm on a first date, we come back to my place once I vetted the girl, right? But girls who push for this, girls who want to come back to your place right away, that is a huge red flag, right? What type of attractive girl, normal girl, wants to insist going back to your place? So if that's her, and this is how it usually happens on Tinder, it's usually the girl wanting to go back to the guy's place or alluding to that idea. So again, that's another huge red flag. If a girl does that, just maybe avoid that girl, to be honest. Another pro tip, Spanish helps a lot, okay? I noticed that a lot of times this happens to foreigners who don't really speak Spanish that well or at all. So even just a little bit of basic Spanish goes a long way, all right? It helps you catch social cues and it helps you feel when something's off. It also builds trust and connection with women who aren't trying to hustle you, right? I found that it's usually the guys that don't speak any Spanish at all that this happens to, right? Girls basically, it's like they have like a radar, right? Whoever speaks good Spanish, maybe avoid that guy. If guy doesn't speak good Spanish, okay, let's go after him type thing, right? But again, when you combine all these factors, the city that you're in, the environment, whether it's a nightclub, if you don't speak good Spanish, you can't read social cues, you're just increasing your odds a little more each time. So I'll reiterate, if you don't speak the language at all, it is more risky, okay? Girls might just want to use you while having no interest in you at all. And this isn't even talking from a robbery or drugging experience. They just might want to ask you for money, right? It's happened before. We've had buddies that don't speak the language at all. There is attraction, but the fact that they can't really communicate much just by the translator, a lot of times she just wants to use the guy for money, okay? So this is where Spanish can come in and help you a lot. So as I'll always recommend, in as many videos as I can, put in some effort to learn a little bit of Spanish. It's going to be worth it. It's going to go a long way in many different aspects to your entire experience here in Latin America, more so than you even think. So here are my final thoughts. Dating in Colombia can be an amazing experience, right? Here you'll meet some of the most feminine, most attractive, most affectionate women in the entire world, right? Probably more so than what you're used to in your home country. But if you're not careful, if you're desperate, if you're flashy, if you're reckless, you will attract the wrong type of girl. And to summarize my recommendations, don't date heavy in tourist cities like Medellín or Cartagena. Avoid going out to clubs alone, specifically in these tourist cities. Don't be flashy, don't be desperate, and you'll probably be just fine. And if you want more tips or strategies when it comes to living a higher quality of life in Latin America, whether it be dating, whether it be moving, whether it be earning remote income even, then book a free 15-minute call with me below, links in the description. Or if you just want to see more videos like this one, then click this one right here, and we'll see you there.